You might need the sock.
I think they were heading in there, but I don't know they would have got a car park.
Yeah, they might have blocked them. Oh, you got 8 people.
8 people?
8 people.
What'd you tell them?
Nothing.
It's nothing. Come on, Vaughan.
That's the union's job.
Well, I think all the union members and all the corporation, all the corporate people are here today, guys. Oh, awesome. It's good that people have found a reason to stand up for a change. What the reasons are, I don't know. We'll ask around while we're up here.
TWU, safe work practices.
Oh, safe work practices, okay. At the end of the day, it's always about someone's bottom dollar. Until it affects their pocket, no one wants to stand up. It's nice to see someone standing, but as you can see, this is an organised rally from our unions, from the corporations, to make a nice show. We know it's all a big act. I hope I got up. I could have got a car park up the top. I missed my normal spot, guys. Pardon? Yeah, I do, brother. Hang on, I'll just swap you that. You hold that one.
Guys,
You hold that one.
who are you looking at me? That's no good.
Keep going. So what's going on today exactly? Transport unions here? Yep. So what are we standing up for today?
It's all that safe breaks, work safe and all that stuff. The companies don't push anymore.
Yes. Yes. Been screwed as always. We used to have a lot of private owned trucks in this country, and nowadays that's all been priced out where we can't do that anymore. The people that keep this country moving get screwed to the point where they have to sell on, move on. We all know the big game plan, it just gets worse every day. So we'll find somewhere to set you up and see if we can hear the speeches and see what's going on. Sorry, Diggs. Flag keeps blowing in your face. You can't see all the trucks here, but there is a massive amount of trucks here, guys. Huge representation from Lynn Fox and a few other big companies. Transport Workers Union. You can see the bus over there. More corporate money covering everything. And I understand where these people are at, their livelihoods, their safety. All these things play a big part. As we know, people don't stand up until they're affected. So they're affected, so they're standing up for themselves, which is great, but there's a bigger picture, bigger things going on. So there's the stage up there. I'll find somewhere for you. I'm going to finish my smokes. Hey Dan, hey Bianca. Good morning Adam. Morning to you all. Hope all's well where you are. It's good to see some numbers on the lawn for a change. As I said, I'll get you close to the stage shortly. I'm just going to finish my smoke. There's no one speaking yet. Everyone loves trucks. No one can own them themselves anymore though. I'm just going to wind you up a little bit. Awesome. If the wind gets too much, let me know. I've got the sock in my pocket. Good evening. You've even smart enough to your chair. What is it about me? I don't know. I've been hit too much. Oh, you got it. Who was that from? Sorry? Who told you that? Oh, then it was spoke to the leader. They're all corporations. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, sorry, Diggs. We've missed most of the convoy. They've parked most of the trucks up. I'm guessing there was a time to turn up to listen to speeches and stuff. It's all right. Our little crew will finish our morning hangout down here together on the lawn instead for a change. Come on, Gabs. You just want to get on the camera again. I know. The star of the show. It's free food. There's no way I'm going. So Tobias is out in the crowd, mixing, mingling, chatting.
Yeah, I was talking to a lady earlier on one of the signs in a light blue shirt, and I was showing her this when I was asking what's happening there, and she said, "Oh, okay." She said, "I've seen the boxes in those files." Oh, yeah, she said, "No, I haven't seen the files, but I've seen the boxes." Ah. Watch out for those ones. I thought they would have bought their trucks off.
Union power, awesome. Yeah, look how that's worked for our country. Right and screwed us. Unions look after their own. Many of my mates that were paid members for a long time got screwed out of jobs to make sure the people, the main union members got their jobs. Another corporation, another trick. Willing to stand up for themselves.
I like it.
I do. Ooh, I'm good for one thing around here at least.
Left mine in the car.
Oh. I'm going to leave this stream here. I'm just going to do a little bit of a walk up the top. I'm just saying, the problem is they should be able to hear what's going on because we have speakers in a stage. If you can't hear, I'm sure someone will move you up.
No, that's what you
Someone will keep an eye on you.
Leah, can you see if they're in it? I think they might just be. Are they just in it there? Is that
You know
yeah, that's better. That's better.
represent.
You gotta stay here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If everyone could start coming towards the stage.
Okay, Diggs, can you hear that?
If we can get some of these TW flags just in this sort of arc here. Can I get the following people somewhere close to this or on the stage? Richard Olsen, Michael Kane, John Walters, Warren, Rosalina, Gordo, Sturley, Sheldon.
How's the sound, guys?
Hello, little Miss Camera Lady.
everybody. Guys, over there, can you move across this way? If you guys move across that way, move across here a little bit more. Well done, good on you, thank you. First time we follow directions, but it's a good start.
Bit of a police presence. As per usual.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start off with a chant. I'm going to say, what do we want? And then you're all going to say, reform now. Now, you should be able to remember that because it's on most of the banners and stuff you're holding. Shouldn't be too complicated. Are you ready? Are you ready? What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now! All right. I think that's good. Well done. Now, can everyone hear us at the back? I don't think there's much you can do about it if you can't, but okay. Let's have my glass off. Okay, firstly, before we get into it, I'd like to acknowledge the lands on which we meet today, the lands of the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to elders past and present. I'd also like to urge you to heed the call of First Nations people who want our movement support for a voice to Parliament enshrined in the Constitution. Parliaments have made laws and failed policies for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people for centuries. A voice enshrined in the Constitution will give them a direct line to Parliament to give advice on laws and policies that directly affect them. And the minimum First Nations people deserve is that their voice be respected and listened to before laws and policies are made. For these reasons, the TWU is committed to supporting the Yes campaign very proudly. And of course, that's what we want as unions, consultation on the things that affect us, and that's what we fight about. Now, can I acknowledge some of the politicians that are or were with us? There was David Smith, Tracy Roberts, Senator Deb O'Neill, and some of the senators and all their staffers, which were Senators Jackie Lambie, David Pocock. I know that obviously Stirling and Sheldon are standing next to me. And can we thank Senator Pauline Hanson for already this morning posting her support for our convoys today on social media, although she couldn't be here herself. All right, now, congratulations to everybody for coming today on what we thought was going to be a pretty miserable Sydney/Canberra day, and it's turned into a beautiful day of blue skies. Congratulations, everybody. I think we made our voices pretty well heard this morning. We've got a number of great speakers. Without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to our first speaker. He's the New South Wales Queensland Branch Secretary, Mr. Richard Olsen.
Thank you so much, Nick, and I too want to pay my respect to the fathers of this land and acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, pay my respect to the elders past, present, and emerging. And I too want to congratulate you all here today. This has been the biggest and the best ever convoy to Canberra, and that's thanks to all of you coming here today. I don't know about you, but I stopped counting at 600. Well done to all of you, and congratulations to each and every transport worker and the families who showed up here today. We have owner drivers here, we've got general freight drivers, we have ports, wharves, concrete and tippers and construction workers, forklift drivers, bus drivers, rideshare drivers, food delivery drivers, and our friends from the airport has even joined us here today as well. Congratulations to all of you. Workers are also here joined by their employer association, industry groups, owner driver groups, etc. Because we all share the same goal of making our industry safer, fairer, more sustainable. We hear from all corners of the industry, but we are speaking as one voice. Transport now, we need reform now. We need transport reform to get our essential transport industry back on track, to make transport jobs fairer, safer, and make transport operators and owner drivers viable. We'll keep fighting, we'll keep coming back here. What we need to do is to get this house behind us, to start implementing the S. S for standards, S for safety, making sure our truck drivers on our roads are supported by a regime back here, not one that fights against us, that continuously lets us down, seeing more and more people killed on our roads. We need to start making that change, and that's what transport reform is all about, and that's why you're here, and I congratulate you all for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard, and thanks to Richard and his team. I know have worked tirelessly behind the scenes for the last few weeks to pull this all together. It's no mean feat to get the amount of trucks we've had here and the amount of great ladies, gentlemen and children with us this morning. Can I now welcome our next speaker to the stage? He's the National Secretary of the proud and mighty Transport Workers Union. It's Michael Kane.
Thanks very much, Nick. Glenn Sterl, who you're going to hear from shortly, brought down a Senate committee report with 10 recommendations 2 years ago. Since that time, 100 transport workers have been killed. He brought that report down in August 2021. The Morrison government sat on it. It refused to act. Today marks a moment in time. Remember this day, because you are part of history. It's about congratulating us for the extent of this demonstration today, right across the country and in Canberra. But more than the extent of it, more than how big it is how unified it is. We are here as employees. We are here as independent contractors, small businesses. We're here as gig workers, rideshare and food delivery. We're here as industry associations, as employers, as employer associations, as unions, as politicians in the House behind us, who are all committed to saying we are not going to take another 2 years and another 100 deaths. We are not. Transport workers are the backbone of this country. Without trucks, Australia stops. And if the community ever needed reminding of how vital we are, they had that reminder during the pandemic. It was you that kept supply chains open in this country while everyone was cowering under the unknown. It was you that delivered food and took us from A to B. When we were in lockdown, when there was no thought of a vaccine, very bravely putting your lives on the line. And it's you that are getting killed in the hundreds because of a lack of standards in this industry. And that has to change. That has to change. We've got an opportunity to put that to pass. This industry's been squeezed from the top and it's been squeezed from below. And transport operators and businesses and transport workers are the sandwich that's been killed. Massive operators at the top of supply chains, the major retailers, the miners, the manufacturers, the shippers, they're just putting cutthroat contracts to transport operators saying take it or leave it. That means that work has to be done on a shoestring. Maintenance has to be cut. Workers have to be pushed hard till they die. And in the gig economy, we've got gig operators who have pushed workers outside of the protections that we've built up for Australian workers over decades. No minimum wage, no access to sick leave, no access to workers' compensation, no access to workplace health and safety. It's exploitation, and they're getting a massive competitive advantage from that. And in the middle, transport operators and transport workers literally having the life squeezed out of them. Are we going to stand for that? No! It's time for change. It's time for change. It's time to avenge the deaths of our colleagues. Of Akshay Dultani, who died 2 weeks ago, food delivery rider, just going about his work, but hell for leather because he had to be hell for leather or he'd get kicked off the app by an algorithm. Remember Scott Green, murdered as a rideshare driver. Incredible pressures on these workers, forcing them to work and take jobs. We have a moment in time. We have a moment in time as an industry. We have the model in place that's been put there by Senator Glenn Sterling is 2 years of consultation in his Senate inquiry. We don't need any more consultation. We don't need any more reports. We've got decades of them. The icing on the cake, Sterl's inquiry. We don't need more reports. We need action now. Congratulations. Let's get it done.
Thank you, Michael, and well said. Now, can we move to a long-term TW member and delegate and someone who was put out of a job because of the squeeze on supply chains, and that's unfortunately former Scott's worker and delegate Johnny Walters. Johnny.
G'day people, glad to see so many of you here. Look, worked for Scott's for only 3 or 4 years. We went under, not through the fault of the company, but through the fault of how the system works. You get a phone call from the client, load coming back from Adelaide, this is the rate you go. That's it. We've had a number of single lorry owner drivers or small fleets.
I think I do have a title of this action. It's called Back in the USSR. Back in the USSR. That's exactly what we are witnessing now.
They've got most of their trucks
What's the rest of your
parked
title?
because
Industrial.
they're not going to
Sorry?
work
What was the rest of your
for
title?
shit anymore,
Industrial something.
and they shouldn't. But, you know,
Yeah, or
we-
subtitle, one subtitle, brainwashing on industrial scale.
One of the
Yes,
last
guys,
ones,
this is a brainwashing
phone
of
calls,
the
text
industrial
messages
scale.
saying, mate, you've got to do it or lose it. He was an older driver, about 15 years with Scott's. Mate, he was asleep at the wheel when he hit a tree. Trailer came up, squashed the truck, and caught on fire. We don't know if it was alive after he hit the tree or not. Subcontractors that we mentioned, just, you know, $500,000-$600,000. It's ridiculous. We don't only need protection for us, we need protection for everybody that's in the industry. If you've got wheels on something you go to work with, you're a transport worker. Nothing shorter, and that's stealing the words out of the famous Linfox Senator, well, sorry, not Linfox, but a TWU, now Senator Tony Sheldon. He told us when I worked for the union, anything with wheels on, we belong to, we own. We need that to happen. We need to, these reforms, we need it in. I think personally, we're not going to accept 100,000, well, 100 people being killed. We shouldn't accept 10 people being killed a year. We're the highest death rate out there in any industry you like to mention. As it's mentioned to you a number of times, we go through a royal commission over it. Glenn's fine work that he's done on doing all this for us. We should not have to go through any more people dying. Scott's employees still ring me up every couple of nights. Some blokes still a bit teary-eyed, sobby, and asking for help to work out the defence system. With this system, we shouldn't have to go to the defence system. Our money, our livelihood should be protected. And if we don't get this through, the industry, as you guys know, is dead. When you go to that system they've got in the States, you see it on Foxtel, they're punching in, they've got it up on the computer, they're going to the lowest bid to get work. By the time they get it, it's not worthwhile doing. And we need sustainable rates and conditions and contracts for everybody out there, just not the chosen few or just employees, it's everybody. And we need to fight tooth and nail for it. I've given a pledge to these guys. I'm 70, I'm retired now, I've had enough of it. But I'm with this, with every one of yous for the long haul. We need to get it through. We did it before, we'll do it again, and we'll keep on coming back to this place in numbers like this to get it across the line, to do whatever we have to. All right, so thanks. and thanks for your effort. You all deserve a good clap on the back for being here. Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny. Let's just remind ourselves, why are we here today? Transport reform, what is it though? It's to stop the deaths. It's to stop the squeeze. It's to stop the injuries. It's to stop this industry in this crisis. And in the coming weeks, there will be legislation put forward in this House that aims to set minimum enforceable standards across all forms of transport. Whether you're an employee, an owner-driver, a gig worker, something in between, whether you're an employer who can't recover costs from someone further up the supply chain, there will be legislation introduced in this place that will deal with that and stop the crisis in this industry. The reason we are here is to call on all members of this parliament to support it, because we know how this works. It's no good one party supporting it. We need everyone to support it, or at the very least the majority on that Senate floor to support it. And that's why we're here today, and that's why, my friends, we will be back again before the end of the year to make sure that that life-saving industry reform it becomes the law of the land by the end of this year in this country. Without any further ado, I'll hand over to an owner-driver and gig worker, Warren.
G'day guys, how you going? So I've been asked to basically share my story and the importance of having reform in the industry. And can I just say, Phil, behind these guys, I just want to say that there's a lot of people coming to us. So I worked for a company for 8 years as an owner driver, and this is not a new story to many of you. You probably had the same story in your yard where, due to the lack of work available, the easy solution is to steal a bit from Peter to pay Paul, right? And that's a common thing. And how it's affected me is that, just like you guys, we all went out and made commitments a couple of years ago to many things, financial and all sorts of other stuff. And due to these changes, we have to go and work a second job, right? We have to double dip into the gig economy and all sorts just to keep ourselves going and survive the current changes. So what does that do for us, right? There's no regulation on what they do in the gig economy. Anyone with a phone can gain employment tomorrow if you want it. And there's no system. It's a whole big mess, right? And we know that it's one of those things where if it hasn't affected you yet, and you're waiting and thinking, oh, it's going to be a while, it's not. It's coming around the corner, and it's going to be knocking on your door. And if it doesn't stop with days like today where we ask for reform, it's going to come and affect you, right? So the important thing is, go back to your yards, right? Explain to them, show them what we did today. As somebody who came here last year, I can definitely say that the numbers have doubled. And this is important because it's taking a lot of momentum, but if we don't bring this matter right to the front, it's going to keep, staying in the shadows. And it's your responsibility as delegates and members to go out and educate your yard on why it's important to support change and reform in the industry so that we can all stay productive, protected, and have longevity in something that we love doing. I love driving. There's nothing else I'd like to do. But will I be able to do it in 5 years? It's not looking good, right? And now is the time we stand up and put our foot down on it and say, no, we've got to stop this, and it's up to us to stop it, not rely on management to make the changes because they don't give a shit about us, right? Now, I'll say one thing and I'll stop. I'll let the others have a go, but, it's the old thing about, oh, but I'm just one person and I have to be educated. I need to know how to send an email. I need to know how to write a big letter. It doesn't matter. We're on the back of a truck in front of Parliament House. And we're about to check things up Wednesday. Right? So go out there and you be the change that you want to see in the industry.
Great work, Warren. Let's hear from another gig worker, another great advocate for transport reform now, and that's Rosalina.
Hello everyone, my name is Rosalina. I've been a gig worker and a small business owner. I've been in the transport industry for 7 years. I have witnessed
Since the introduction of the gig economy, working conditions are in decline. Drivers are being exploited. We need standards in place so all transport jobs do not become gig economy jobs. Gig economy jobs at the moment have no protections, no rights, and no minimum wage. Last week we heard of an Australian limousine company, Brunel, that operated in every state. It went into liquidation, owing $12 million. This company transported billionaires, but as independent contractors like me, I was one of them at one point, reported to be earning as little as $11 an hour. Driving businesses like Qantas, Emirates, Shangri-La, Four Seasons Hotels. These workers now this week have been contacting me. Some of them have been owed between $92,000 and $3,000 each, not knowing what to do. Independent contractors with no protection, no rights, and no minimum wage. The industry is being destroyed. Small and large business owners can no longer compete fairly in the gig economy. Strong evidence before us today shows the destruction which has been caused since Uber, the first foreign company to land on our shores. The gig economy needs enforceable standards urgently. I worked for Uber for a while, and I think the only time I made a decent wage was actually when it was illegal. Every transport worker in Australia deserves safe and fair working conditions. We don't want to continue seeing news headlines like this week's bashing of driver Jason King and the murder of Queensland driver Scott Cabrini. And the overworked driver I found dead behind the wheel of his vehicle with his engine still running. These drivers needed the safety and protection. May these drivers we've lost remain warriors. May our voices today be heard in unity and hope with change on the horizon. It's been great to see you all here today, and we look forward to these upcoming changes. Thank you for TW for the opportunity today to have a voice.
Thanks, Rosalina. Thank you for bravely sharing those stories, tragic stories. And let's remember that there are convoys in every capital city as we speak across this great country of ours, and they are doing exactly what we're doing in their own states and territories. And we're all standing in solidarity with each other to make sure this place does what it needs to do by the end of the year. Can I now ask Gordon McKinley, Gordo, from the proud National Road Freighters Association, I can see the team to the left of me here, to come up and have a few words as well.
Thanks, Nick. I think we've had one thing wrong this morning with Glenn saying, what do we want? It's what we need. So what do we need? When do we need it? So we can get that straight. This is my first rodeo. I came here in 2016. Probably on the opposite side of the fence. Most of you guys that are here today know of me. Back in 2016, the year that I was doing something very opposite of what I'm doing today, but what I was actually doing back then was what I thought was the best thing for the industry, and I still think, at the time that was, and what I'm doing here today is what I believe is the best thing for the industry. We all believe that. We can all agree that 2016 is dead and buried, and I'd rather forget about it. It was not done correctly, and unfortunately it was a great idea that just didn't come off well, but here we are. We've learned from 7 years of consultation and talking with each other, just having the maturity to, instead of having a little cat fight because someone wears a different coloured shirt to you or whatever, we've all got together. I don't know how many trips to Gander we've had in the last 7 years, but might as well buy a bloody house here, but we're getting somewhere. I really believe we're getting somewhere, and you talk to people, you get out there and you talk to people that are other transport operators, first thing they come up with is, things are looking pretty good at the moment, whatever, but when you really dig down, you're actually not, it's a bit of a fallacy. We know there's massive improvements that need to be made. What we're asking for now is to have the Parliament give us the vehicle that we need to make those changes and to be guided by people who belong to the industry, so that we get it done correctly and we can move on now and, start to be safe, start to be profitable. Everyone from the CEOs to the newest employee, apprentice, whatever, in their business, everyone is just as important, and we all need to work together for that. Absolute must. I'm not sure what else there really is for me to say, other than thanks to everyone for turning up. That your own member, where you are, a senator, whatever, tell them about this, get the word out there, all your family, and we need all of Australia to be behind us and get this reform that we need. Not going to want we need, absolutely need this to come. Probably just one other thing I typed up here, behind us, going to say, what was my story for the last 7 years? What I've done. So I had a couple of trucks up there. It got to the point for me where I came home one day and I said to my wife, at this point I'd actually stepped away from driving myself and taken up my trade as a mechanic. I came home one day and I said to my wife, $20,000 ute I got over there with my tools on the back is more profitable than the $1,000 trucks that we had sitting around and the employees that we need to do that. And so we decided to sell them. We just made a business decision to sell them up. And I'm not sorry that I did that. I've never given up on the industry and working with the industry. I could have just walked away and forgotten about it, but I believe my father, who's not with us any longer, he put into me the sense of doing the right thing. And I believe that opening up to TWU, working with the NRFA and the TWU and getting that connection has been the right thing to do. One that I've probably copped a bit of flack over, and that's fine. But I would like to get to a point where, one day, I love trucks, I love transport, it's a fantastic industry, and that's why I still remain part of it, just a different part. I'd love to the point where my son, who's also a driver, could say, hey, let's get a couple of trucks in and have some fun together, and actually be profitable and safe, and know that he doesn't have to drive, 17 hours a day to try and get the job done right, because those people are go. So, to any of the, particularly the politicians that might be watching this, please, this is not just something that we want. We're not being greedy. We're just asking for what we need to supply everyone in Australia with everything they need.
Thanks, Gordo. The three things I know about Gordo: one, he stands up for what he believes in; two, he's a much better chanter than me, who decided to say, what do we want reform now, when do we want it now? And literally, I've got transport reform now written there, so well done, me. And thirdly, I can't remember what it was. I've lost it. Actually, I know what it was. You were so good that you convinced the New South Wales Queensland president to join the NRFA. He's got the NRFA signed. That's how convincing you are. Anyway, we'll have a word to Tony about that after. Speaking of Tony, now it's my pleasure to introduce you to TWU Senator Tony Shelton.
Thanks very much, Nick, and again, congratulations to everybody who's here, and great work, because you really should turn to the person next to you and just say, look, thanks for coming. I really reckon you should do that right now. You should turn to the person next to you and say, thanks for coming. Because you know what? All of you are making a difference. All of you are making a difference for thousands of people out there in this industry by standing up and saying, you deserve, and the industry you work in deserves better. Do you deserve better? Are you prepared to fight for it? Well, one of the things that particularly gets me, and that is this gig economy as well. The transport industry and the fights, and you've heard the stories that have been said so far, and the lives you've lived, and the lives that your friends have lived. You've seen the battles, and you see the need for reform. But gig work is gig work, which is coming to every person in this country. It's not only food delivery workers, it's not only rideshare workers, but it's everybody. It's where simply by an app, you'll be doing job by job, piece by piece. It's the old piece rates that some of us read about in high school they used to do back in the 1800s. Well, they're bringing it back to you through an app. I just spoke to some gig workers just a few minutes ago. And said, look, it's been a few weeks, been a few months. Has anything changed? And they said they still what they call it, deactivate. You wake up in the morning, you receive complaints that you've never had a chance to reply to, and you can't log on. You think something's wrong with your phone, you go and check with somebody else's, you try to email to the company, and eventually come back to you and say, no, you've been deactivated. Your income and your job is no longer there. That's the system that has been brought upon us. That's the system they want to bring it to every household that you live in this country. And that's a system that for the last 9 years, they have refused to change. In a job security inquiry into the gig industry and other industries, we turned around and found the low pay, low conditions, surprise, surprise means unsafe practices. People work longer and longer hours, funnily enough, to be able to put food on their table. Funnily enough, to be able to turn around and pay for their rent. Or for many, even just to make sure they can wind the windows up in the car they move from space to base because they're living out of their cars. That's the system that has been wrought upon us. We have 250,000 people that are working in gig work, and good luck. And there's some great people, you heard some great people today who are fighters and have got the heart to say, we deserve better. Well, we as a country say that everybody deserves better. But also as a country say this, there is not a job that cannot be gigized. There's not a job that can't have those same low conditions. Because when we walk past that gig worker, that says to somebody else that I'll get my type of work operating the same way. And for those good employers out there, and there's a number of them, and a number of them with us here today, they know what it means to employ people and employ a family, because that's what you do when you employ somebody. You employ their entire family. Because the decisions you make and you make together is what makes sure there's food on the table and a roof over your head. And they now have to compete with companies like gig companies that don't give a damn. Well, do you give a damn? Do you give a damn? Well, make sure this fight ahead, whether the job security inquiry that we saw, worker after worker that was being exploited, and that inquiry that came out supporting Glenn's incredibly important report in the Senate over 2 years, the entire industry, the hard work that Gordo, many of you, the union, and many others, employers, companies, that said reform had to take place. It's for everybody, and it's for everybody to make sure that we stand together and be proud of yourself, because you are standing up for a point in time that can say Australia is going to be a better place because we started the fight again today.
Wow, well said, Tony. Speaking of that bloke,
Maybe
who
they should have
gave
done
us the
this
blueprint for the last 2 or
when
3 years
they
of
were
that
forced
last government,
vaccinated.
gave us the blueprint for the transport reform
Still
that
with
has
us.
got us, and we need in this country. I introduce another TW Senator, Senator Glenn Sterl.
I said they'll go home now.
Thank you very much, Nick. For those of you who might not have heard of me or haven't met me, Glenn Sterl, truck driver, but I actually do a bit of part-time work up here as well as a senator. And I'm a proud truck driver. I'm 3 generations of truck drivers in my family. We're all road train operators. We're all long distance. My son's still out there proudly chomping away. He's been out there for 13 years as a road train operator. It's dear to the heart to me. It's not confected. It is dear to the heart to me. I know more than anyone else the fear of getting that phone call in the early hours of the morning. I've lived and breathed it. I couldn't believe what my father put my mother through. We didn't have a telephone. He didn't do it purposely. But when we turned on the TV, when we had black and white TVs and there was a truck driver being killed, the fear that runs through all of us when we hear that. So I share this with you, friends. I can't thank enough the truck drivers and the company owners who have made the effort to drive from Sydney today to be here with us in the nation's capital. It is a huge, huge contribution that you have made, and you don't do that on your own. So I just want to make one statement here for the media, not for all us here. When we talk transport, we're not just talking truck drivers. We're not just talking forkies. We're not just talking admin staff or tyre fitters or mechanics. We're not just talking receiving staff and loaders. The transport family is huge. It's wide-ranging. And as one of the early speakers said before me, the beauty of going last is everyone said what I wanted to say. So I've got to make something different up as I go. But it is from here. We all live and breathe the complexities of the road transport industry. Every single one of us. And we are normal people. We're not just these big juggernauts that go flying through your community at 2 o'clock in the morning or on Saturdays or hold rallies and say, hey, we want to be safe. We're actually in the community. We're in the hairdressers. We're in the shopping centres. We're in the schools. We're in the sporting grounds. We're in the hotels. We're in the restaurants. We are a part of this community, and we are the damn well most important part of this community. Next to and I don't mind saying that. And I want to give those special thanks. A very special thanks I want to raise here. And the last 5 years has been a culmination of my 40-odd years. When I was first in the transport industry at the age of permanently 17, as a union delegate at 20. And when I talk to the transport industry, and we have the support of industry here, this is not a fight for the union versus the boss. This is not a fight for the owner versus the employer who's given on the work. This is us, all of us. And it's come about through one very simple word. It's only a simple word, but by Christ, it's a founding part of who we are. Consultation. We just want to be heard. We want to have the ability to say to the lawmakers, well, thank you very much for thinking of us as you're passing this legislation. But did any bastard talk to us? Well, I'm telling you now, and I'm proud to stand here and say, the culmination of the Without Trucks Australia Stops recommendations and report came because we sat down together. I was contacted by people who would not want to be in my sphere, let alone my room, when the RSRT collapsed. When we also sat down, and I said this loud and clear, I put out a special thanks to Gordon McKinlay. Gordo, thank you for reaching out, mate. Because you know what? There is so much more that unites us than divides us. And you know what? It's not just the TWU, it's not just the NRFA, it's every transport association in this nation is now on our side, calling for transport reform. How good is that? We're not divided. We've gone through the worst 9 years of a government that just treated us like trash. 9 years of a government that when we raised issues, if we weren't from the National Farmers Federation, what the hell would we know about transport? Well, I just want to raise this with you, friends, while we're here. While the whole road transport industry is united with us in our request for transport reform now, who's against us? Well, lo and behold, the Australian Mining and Minerals Association, all those poor buggers that only make profits in the billions. The National Farmers Federation. The National Farmers Federation want their members to be able to be safe and sustainable and viable, but God help us, but we should be. Who else? The Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Surprise, surprise. The Business Council of Australia. Surprise, surprise. Australian Industry Group. People that need to exploit and crush any opportunity for the road transport industry, whether you are one truck or whether you are 1,000 trucks, to be safe, sustainable and viable. And I'm proud to say, well, up yours, because we have worked so hard to be here. There's been so many people doing this, and we're doing it together. And I say to Minister Burke, when you bring down the legislation this year, the most important thing in my heart, the first building block, that we will be heard, the industry will be consulted. On that, brothers and sisters, there's a lot more to do. We're not there yet. We've got to work with the crossbenchers, and I know crossbench, I've spoken to crossbench senators this week, as has Tony, who wants to be here with us today. And it wasn't shallow words, they said their stuff. They've got commitments elsewhere. I saw Senator Pauline Hanson's tweet today, and to the NRFA, thank you so much for the job you've done working closely with Senator Hanson. Well done you, well done. But there's one last group in this chamber with the red carpet where Tony and I walk. It's called the opposition, the LNP. They're not supporting us. They do not want this industry to be safe, sustainable and viable. They want the market to let rip and things just continue, keep going along that path. Well, you can be on the right side of history, Peter Dutton and co. You can get in behind the industry, the families, the faces here, and support us, or get out of the friggin' way. In closing, I just want to thank everyone once again, fantastic speakers, and I sincerely say this to the men and women of the Australian Federal Police. Thank you very much for your support today. We really do appreciate it. You've made it so easy for all these heaps of trucks to get down here safely, and we know you're proud union members too, so thank you for your support. Brothers and sisters, onwards and upwards, transport reform now.
Thank you, Sterling. What a warrior for road transport industry. Now, in a second, I'm going to ask everybody to come up to the stage, turn around so we can have a photo in front of the House that we need to pass this reform this year. But before I do, I'm going to hand back over to the National President of the TW and the New South Wales Queensland Secretary, Richard Olsen.
Thanks, Nick. Guys, just to commemorate today, we have designed a keyring which is currently going around for you to collect. To commemorate today, to remind you each and every day of what we're about, transport and reform. And that's what we need to have. And this keyring will do that. It's a very expensive keyring. It's worth $50 plus. And if you ain't here, you ain't going to get it. So make sure you pick one up. And tell everybody else, bad luck you missed because you weren't here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richie. Okay. Before we do this, are we going to come back? Are we going to come back? We'll be back. 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 All right. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. Now, can everybody, I think I'm going to do this right, but I'm looking at people who can tell me otherwise. Can everyone come to the stage, but I assume those banners face the other way. So these people might have to turn. Nick Peary and Mick Forbes and friends have to turn. And everyone else will have to swing in here. I think just keep coming in, because guys, to get in the photo, we've got to be in this middle section here. So keep swinging in. Mick, Terry and Forbes, you might need to move forward a touch. Just to let people in, that's it. All right, that'll do. Thanks, guys. Now keep swinging in, guys. Keep trying to get right in here. There's plenty of room in the middle. You won't get the photo otherwise. We need to make it look good.
All right, Diggs, I'm going to shut you down shortly. I'm sure you've heard enough propaganda for today. Yeah, as you can see, until it affects your own pocket, no one wants to stand up. And we'll keep fighting every day.
Do we need further in?
We'll keep trying to wake them up. We'll try and have some conversations with some people.
We need to push in, or we right?
Yeah, exactly. It's very sad. It's all very sad.
Okay, but are we in? Is that all right? Are we in enough? Yes? Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this turn.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Yeah, we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Don't want to upset people.
All right, I'm going to see if I can get the chant right this time.
But vote no for the voice. Love you all.
You'll say transport.
See you tomorrow.
I'll say when do we need it now. So we'll do it in a way that actually makes sense.